Zoom, and we'll bring on Guam Department of Education Superintendent Jon Fernandez. Good morning, Jon.
Day. Good morning, Sabrina and Chris, and also Jason on the team.
So, what's the latest with the face-to-face? Are we now allowing more students to return to face-to-face, or are we still in the process of figuring that out?
Well, we just completed 2 weeks, and we're moving into our third week. So, at this point, we're working with the principals, giving them a heads up that we will have a discussion about expanding face-to-face instruction. I think it was very important to get through the first 2 weeks, ensure that all the necessary protocols and processes were being adhered to, and just give everybody an opportunity to feel more comfortable with the situation at school before we further expanded. I think what's really helped is also the vaccination drive that we did this past week with with the partnership of Public Health and with the support of the Guam Regional Medical City and American Medical Center. We were able to vaccinate a large number of both public schools teachers and staff, as well as private school teachers and staff. So we have about, on our count, about 1,400 GDOE employees who have received their first dose. And of course, we're already working to schedule the second doses. And I'm sure we'll probably have more interest amongst those teachers and staff who may have held off for this first round, but may end up being more interested as more people take advantage of the vaccine. So we're at 1,400 right now. And again, with the second dose, I think it'll raise even more confidence and feeling an assurance of our employees being safe in the school sites as we look to expand instruction. What I understand is that there are schools who have in those first couple of weeks may have encountered students who were not registered but showed up anyway, thinking that this is the time to come back to school. Those schools which had the capacity to welcome the students into one of the two cohorts that exist did so. We're able to do so, but we do know also that there are schools with a longer waiting list and that are waiting for more district direction because of the numbers of students who are interested in coming back. So we're not yet prepared to expand, further beyond the two cohorts. And but I think it'll be a very active discussion over the coming, maybe a couple of weeks as we engage the board and give them an update as to where we are with reopening.
Mm-hmm. You said there's a waiting list?
Well, I mean, I think most schools have been able to address some of the early, interest. I know that at JFK, which is kind of the outlier, they have about more than 100 students on the waiting list. And so we're going to be talking to them about how they want to address, if they're able to address, welcoming more students back to campus. So, in that case, when you're talking about 100, I think they're going to want to know, are they going to be able to do it? And of course, we want to make sure that they still maintain the safety requirements that have been set forth by public health.
Mm-hmm. Any update on, I know when we spoke last time, you talked about the learning centers possibly opening at the different 7 or 8 campuses?
Yeah, we have about 8 schools. There was a slight delay due to some just working out some of the details with regard to staffing of the 8 centers. So we anticipate that they will start, instead of this week, they will start on Monday. So we expect an announcement to detail which schools they are, and then inform the community, as to what the process is for being able to take advantage of these learning centers. I do think we'll have on the first day, we will probably have a session for media and for some of our partners to be able to come to one of our centers and, understand exactly what is going to be provided in terms of support, and also to be able to spread the word to interested students and families who want to take advantage of access to technology and the internet after regular school hours. So, we anticipate that'll happen beginning Monday. We're still trying to finalize the schedule, but, it's going to probably be offered 3 times a week, not every day, but 3 times a week to start off. And we'll start off with 8 schools who are ready to go. And eventually our goal is to expand that to 21 centers based in our schools. and also to partner with, we know that other agencies are considering doing the same at some of their sites, including DYA, as well as our public library system.
Okay.
Have you guys got a chance to put your eyes on the executive budget that was sent to the legislature?
Yeah, we saw an overview of it, and that's going to be ongoing conversation for the next, I would say many months until we get a final budget from the legislature. But there are just a lot of moving parts here that we have to monitor. I mean, number one, we're trying to get through this school year with the $15 million reduction from last year, which has been interesting because we've been shut down for part of the year, which has helped us make up for some of those cuts. But now we're going to be open for the rest of the school year. We got to monitor and see what we can do to live within our budget. And we were hoping that with the uncertain economic situation, that we would at least be able to maintain where we are, knowing that we've already dealt with those cuts, and there are a lot of things that, of course, schools are hoping to see in terms of support. I think when we saw the report on the governor's budget, it looks like a $17 to $18 million hit, which is significant. And so, that's something we're going to have to start planning for. If that is the case, what would the impact be on our current operations? So, that analysis we'll do and try to provide as much information to the legislature when the time comes. We also know that on the federal side, we are going to see an influx of federal funding from the second wave of ESF, the Education Stabilization Fund. We received $110 million for DOE, and including our private and charter schools. And then the governor gets an additional $33 million for educational purposes. So with that money, we definitely are looking to do what we can to invest in maintaining and sustaining safe school environments so that we can reopen for more students. I know there's been some discussion. I know the appropriations chair was on indicating the possibility of just taking that money and offsetting, the local budget. But I did want to, and I spoke to him briefly to remind him that there is still this maintenance of effort requirement that we sign off on in our federal assurance when we receive those funds. I mean, there is a requirement for maintenance of effort, and that maintenance of effort indicates that the past 3 fiscal years of state support, the average of those past 3 fiscal years needs to be maintained. So we just want to, of course, work in good faith to meet that assurance. There might be a waiver opportunity, with the federal government, but that won't open up until I think September of this year. So until then, we will continue to, inform the governor and the legislature of those requirements, let them know how we are investing those funds. And then when we get to the summer and start finalizing, the budget, hopefully we can sort all of that out to ensure that we have the resources to meet our mission.
All right. Thanks, John, for that update. I don't want to say it's a progress report because $17-18 million proposed cut. That's
Right.
Pretty.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, with so many moving parts, and again, with the federal funding coming in, and I know the governor and legislature will have to sort out what that picture is going to look like for next year, whether it's as the governor predicts, or whether it gets worse or better, depending on the numbers. That's something to be determined, and we have a number of months to go to really try to solidify that picture. And hopefully, we're in a better position, and we can, see hope and light at the end of the tunnel with regard to getting through the pandemic. And we certainly hope for all of that for our entire island. So we're not gonna, panic just yet. We will do the planning that we need to do in any scenario. And again, our job is to give our policymakers the information they need to understand, what our schools are going to need to continue through this situation, and obviously balance that with the other interests of the other, the rest of the community. But we did meet with the Lieutenant Governor yesterday, and we, asked him about that, and we're going to continue to work together to see what can be done to maintain, the necessary supports that are needed, as well as to deploy those federal funds in a coordinated manner so that we're not, redundant or working, at cross purposes.
So
if I could, I just wanted to address quickly, Sabrina and Chris, we did have an incident yesterday with regard to a positive case at Price Elementary, and I certainly didn't want to go past that without just addressing it publicly. Because I know a lot of our parents and our employees are always concerned when they do hear, of any positive cases affecting the schools, and especially because we just returned to face-to-face.
Right.
So there was a lot of, questions about what was happening, and we tried to put out information. So we did get a confirmed case affecting a staff member at the Price Elementary School, and we initiated contact tracing, and this was just on Monday, so this earlier this week. So we initiated contact tracing with our own team, headed by our school nurse, and working with our management team as well as public health to identify, the number of contacts that would then go into quarantine, and then working to test them today with public health to at least give them that test to see if there's any further positives. So anyone who is at the campus, any stakeholders, family member, student, if you are a contact, you will be notified. And if you are not a contact, then you will not be notified, and you are definitely not going to be considered to be in that circle of folks who have to quarantine. We were able to disinfect the areas of the school that were possibly impacted. So, so today we were able to return to face-to-face operations without any interruption. And we will do an after-action, report internally, since this is our first case, to see what we can do better to address, these cases, which I think we did. I think we followed the protocols. But what I'm seeing in that first day is really, the need to continue with the communication efforts, because with all the anxiety out there, there's, always tends to be, rumors of what happened and who was affected. And we just want to make sure, I want to take this opportunity to let the Price Elementary stakeholders know that we have addressed the employee, the contacts, the disinfection as per our protocols, and we are open today for face-to-face instruction with an understanding that all those areas have been fully addressed, working with public health to ensure that all steps are followed. So I just wanted to put that out there, and obviously any questions and concerns, we hope they will forward that to us in DOE so we can continue to work with our community. So thank you for that opportunity.
When's the last time students were on campus?
Last time they were on campus was last week on Thursday. So, and again, I think that really helps us because they're not there every day. And so when we did have a notification of the case, we were able to bring in the services to disinfect the areas without interrupting, disrupting operations. So that was really, really good. And I think, that really helped us in our response. And plus, like I said earlier, and as I've said all along, with our school nurses, well trained by public health, throughout this pandemic situation to initiate contact tracing, all of that happened without having to wait or rely on public health to begin that process. We initiated that effort, identified the contacts, and are working with public health to get them tested and to make sure that when they're, when they get through their quarantine period, that they can be cleared to return to work right after. So all of that is in process.
What grade is this teacher?
I didn't say as a teacher, so that's one thing. And obviously, one of our challenges is also that again, that we don't release information that would implicate a specific individual, right, just out of respect for the private medical information that is that is being discussed. But we do know that if it's in a classroom and you're affected and you are determined to be a contact, you will definitely be notified, right, as a parent or as a fellow colleague if you are a contact. If you are not a notified that you need to quarantine and so forth, it is with DOE and the partnership of public health that we've established that you are not a contact, you are not exposed to the individual, and again, I know it takes a lot of trust working with our our employees and our families, but we hope we built that trust in terms of the transparency that we've tried to provide with every case that we've had since the beginning of the school year, since last summer. Right. Even if the teachers were not on campus, if they were positive, we let you know, and we hope that we can continue to maintain that openness with our community so that they have faith in the information that we put forward.
Right. Yeah, I got a joke for this. Knock, knock. Knock, knock, John.
Who's there?
HIPAA.
HIPAA who?
I can't tell you. All right. Well, John, thank you for
Great.
that. Yeah. Well, I was watching some COVID-19 thing last night on YouTube, and that was one of the things.
Well, hey, thank you for the
Hey!
opportunity to provide an update.
Appreciate it, John.
Thanks, John.
All right.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right, I'm here all week unless they can me. My name's Chris, 847. Guys, we're gonna get into this Zoom we got with Senator Tello, Senator Joanne. Just full disclosure, we did invite the Port Over.